Hello creatives! In this video, I'll discuss rich students versus broke students' behavior and standards. I'll reveal to you the things that separate rich students from broke students. As a student, I'm sure you'd love the best things in your school life: dining out, movies, driving to school, a fully furnished apartment, to name a few. But call it a curse, it's sometimes hard to go a semester without being broke. Before we can look at what separates rich students from broke students, let's first understand what being broke is and if it's the same as being poor. According to New York Times bestseller and inspiring businessman Robert Kiyosaki, there is a difference between being poor and being broke. Being broke is temporary, but poor is eternal. If I could explain further, a poor student is living in poverty. This kind of student might be doing multiple jobs out of school but still can't afford basic things like food and clothes. Broke students may afford the basics but can't go out, buy the latest shoes, get a gift for someone, those kinds of things. This kind of student doesn't have enough money to afford some non-essentials after attending to the most essential. You can be broke because you're waiting for your allowance or pay if you work. You can also be broke because you don't get enough money or because you're overspending. So, in as much as being broke is temporary, it sucks. It means having to watch other students, the rich, go to the best places, eat the best meals, and make meaningful investments. That brings us to the title of our video. So, what really separates rich students from broke students? I'm going to reveal to you 10 differences between rich and broke students. Watch out for numbers 9 and 10 as your financial freedom and happiness depends on them. But before then, if you are new here, consider subscribing to this channel to continue receiving great videos like this one. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get informed every time I publish a life-changing video. Here we go. Number 1. Rich students budget while broke students don't. A budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. That's according to financial guru Dave Ramsey. Did you know that the primary reason why most students are broke is that they don't budget for their money? Well, that's the case. Even worse, it's because of not budgeting that a majority of them end up in debt, be it in school or out of it. You can't spend money, no matter how small, and expect that it'll always be there. Remember, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So a budget is a must. Rich students know how much money they have and how they'll spend it. They know how much to save or invest and how much to set aside for fun. The takeaway: consider planning for your money for the entire month to stay broke free. Number 2. Rich students set financial goals while broke students don't. Other than a budget, the common thing that broke students don't set is financial goals. It's pointless to budget for your money if you don't have a precise financial objective. According to Michael Korda, one way to keep momentum going is to have constantly greater goals. So, you can only stick to your budget if you have some goals that motivate you. With financial goals, you can plan for your money wisely and be able to avoid going broke. Rich students know what they want to achieve with their finances, so they set a budget and define their objectives. Doing so saves them from becoming broke. The takeaway: it takes some financial goals to put your financial life in order. Number 3. Rich students have a defined financial plan while broke students don't. Money is only a tool. It'll take you wherever you wish, but it won't replace you as the driver. That's how Ayn Rand views things when it comes to spending money. Rich students have a well-defined plan for spending their money. They may not follow that plan exactly, but they use it to ensure that they spend their money wisely. Given that they set financial goals, rich students always have a roadmap for reaching them. Broke students, on the contrary, are not clear about how they'll spend their money. Their lack of a budget and financial goals only make their situation terrible for them. The takeaway: have a defined financial plan. It's the map that determines your future financial life. Number 4. Rich students have savings while broke students don't. A good number of students are broke because they have no money saved up. They spend all of their allowances and then they have nothing to live on until the next one. The same goes for those with a part-time job. They have to wait till payday to buy something, and the wait is ordinarily long and frustrating. Again, it's related to budgeting. Some students under-budget without realizing that they are, and they put themselves in a situation where they are likely to run out of cash. In contrast, rich students always have some money saved up. They overestimate their spending, and that means having more savings. The takeaway: take Ben Franklin's advice. If you would be wealthy, think of saving as well as getting. Number 5. Rich students have an emergency fund while broke students don't. As a student, there are so many financial emergencies that you have to prepare for. For example, your car may break down, or you may suffer a personal injury or illness. If these unplanned events happen, the chances are that you'll spend whatever money you have. The best thing to do is have an emergency fund, something that wealthy students have. It's a type of savings account that is specifically created for emergencies. Ideally, the emergency fund should have some savings equivalent to 3 months of your living expenses. The takeaway: save up some money for emergencies in a different savings account. You can ask a parent or guardian to set one up for you. Number 6. Rich students buy things they need, while broke students spend money on things they don't really need. Broke students are mostly the way they are because they are impulse spenders. They try to keep up with others, and as a result, they end up buying things they don't need. Rich students, in contrast, only buy what they need and not because someone else has it. They are generally in full control of their spending. It's rare to get a rich student buying something to impress others, particularly someone they barely know. They don't try to outspend their friends, and they don't give their money out just because they have extra. The takeaway: remember Edmund Burke's words: if we command our wealth, we shall be rich and free. If our wealth commands us, we are poor indeed. Number 7. Rich students live their life, while broke students always want to keep up with the Joneses. There is nothing financially worse than buying things to impress people or compete with the people around you. Trying to beat other students with a flashy lifestyle doesn't help you, but puts you in emotional distress as you accumulate credit card debts all over. But even the Joneses that you're trying to keep up with might be wallowing in debt. So, don't let their appearances deceive you. Things may not be as they seem. Genuinely rich students don't spend money to beat anyone. They know that they have the financial power and they don't have to prove it by overspending. The takeaway: live within your means and let the Joneses be. Number 8. Rich students don't hurry spending their money, while broke students spend it as soon as they get it. This is interesting. It's not that broke students don't get money, but their principal shortcoming is their urge to spend. Once they receive their money, they forget in a flash that they were broke for the better part of the semester. So they spend it as soon as they get it and become broke again, and the pattern continues. In contrast, rich students have no hurry to spend their money. They are used to having money around, and as a result, they only buy things that they need and when they need them. That means that they get to save a lot, and that's how their emergency fund always has some money in it. The takeaway: learn to hold off from spending your allowance until it's necessary. Number 9. Rich students live for the future, while broke students live for the moment. Broke students often forfeit future financial gains for the sake of present fun. They would rather enjoy their life now than sacrifice the fun today for the sake of tomorrow. These are the kind of students that live by the slogan, YOLO, you only live once. And when reality checks in, these students find themselves broke and financially desperate like never before. Rich students, in contrast, always invest in their future. They aren't too absorbed with the present fun, so they would rather put some money aside for the rainy day than go out on a night on the town. Mind you, it's not because they can't afford today's pleasures, but because the future is more important. The takeaway: focus on the future and not on now. Number 10. Rich students celebrate every moment while broke students whine and complain. According to Henry David Thoreau, wealth is the ability to experience life fully. Sadly, only wealthy students get to have a full experience of life. They find happiness in the little things they do, even if they don't have to spend that much money. Broke students, on the other hand, can't stop whining and complaining. They often think that the whole universe is conspiring against them. So whenever they fail at something, they always look for an excuse, and it's usually a lack of money. And even when they get the opportunity to have fun and feel good, some of them don't stop whining. The takeaway: instead of whining and complaining, take advantage of every opportunity you get. In conclusion, many things separate rich students from broke students, and drawing the line is pivotal for every student. If you want to be rich in school, you have to do what rich students do and shun broke ones. Hopefully, you can apply a few of the tips I've shared in this video. I know this video was exciting and you loved it. Also check out this video about rich people versus poor people and other life-changing resources.